Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Not sure where, when, or how you're watching this, but great to have you with us today. I'm noticing, I'm recording this at around, I think it's like 4:45, and I'm noticing that it's getting a little lighter, a little later, which is actually kind of exciting to know that spring is coming. But I was reading today in 2 Timothy, and 2 Timothy 2:25 through 26 says, "Gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps," and that's the kind of operative word in today's devotion, "perhaps God will change those people's hearts, and they will learn the truth. Then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants." And I found that word, perhaps, to be incredibly compelling today. The choice of words here is a bit perplexing, actually, to me, because Paul uses the word perhaps. Perhaps God will come and change their hearts. And I guess that makes it more of there's an uncertainty there that I find pretty interesting. Even Paul, this scholar among men, right? He couldn't get definitive in this section. It says to me that there's always hope, but there are times where hearts may not change, right? I know we pray for this, we pray for that, we pray for the hearts of others, we pray for people's hearts to change, and maybe that's not in the cards sometimes. Truth may not be heard. People may fall into the traps that are set. And just to think about that for a minute, right? There are so many traps that are set in this life as we walk through everything, temptations, and just there's so many things that, again, I'll just reference this once again, just distract us from who God is in our life and who he wants to be in our lives. And this word, perhaps, it makes me think, like, I don't know if it struck you the same way or not, but maybe we don't have all the answers. And God is using even the negative, even the ugly, right, for his good. He makes all things work together for his good. So the distractions, the temptations, all of that stuff is still somehow, I don't know how, but somehow being used for his good. And I always found that incredible, I guess is the only word for it. And you know, things looking bleak this week. This is how I ended this devotion as I was writing this about a year ago. Things looking bleak this week. Perhaps they're supposed to. Perhaps God is setting you out on this path to lead to another truth that you can't see yet. Another road that must be taken. And I remember when I read this verse, and I've read it a couple of times since then. Let me just read it again. "Gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps God will change their hearts, and they will learn the truth. Then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants." And when you look at it from that perspective, right, like being held captive by the devil, so many of us get caught up in these traps that just continue to, again, just distract us and set our minds apart from who he is and who he's trying to be in our life. And we as Christians have to just be vigilant in our opposition to these traps, right? To these, to all of the stuff that gets thrown our way. We have to actually realize what it is that's getting in the way of our walk with God. And sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes it really just, it's a hard thing to discern. And yet, here we are every day doing devotions, reading the Bible, trying to understand more of who God is in our lives. And that's how we avoid these traps. So maybe today, this devotion will be called Traps. And I think the task for the week is to specifically look every single day at what traps are set for you. And these traps could range anywhere from a confrontation at work. They could be a particular website that you keep hitting or stumbling across something on Instagram or Facebook. I mean, I know that in the past, I've had to stop following some people on Instagram and on Facebook because the content was just pouring ugliness into my life that I didn't want. So I stopped following them because I didn't want to see that in my feed every day. And I don't know what it is for you. Like maybe there's stuff going on at work that you just get so tempted by. Maybe there's stuff, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I think the point of this is to kind of just take a minute, take a look at what is going on in your life. And more importantly, take a look at the traps that are being set. And it's a slow fade, right? There's that great Casting Crowns song that talks about the slow fade. But there's just this tiny little slope that we fall down and slide down. We don't even realize we're sliding down it. I'll cite, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and she was talking about walking through the fog. And I think I mentioned this story at the retreat too, but she was talking about how when you walk through the fog, and you keep walking through the fog, right? Like you're walking through 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. You don't realize how wet you are until you get inside. And then you're like, wow, I am just soaked to the bone from the mist in the fog, but you don't realize how wet you were getting while you're in the fog. Same thing here, right? You get into these places where you're just like, I'm good. And then you look deep into it and you're like, I'm not good. So there are these traps that are being set for all of us every single day. And our task is to just find out what they are and avoid them. And perhaps, I'll go back to that word, perhaps our God is using a few of them to teach us here and there a couple of lessons. I don't know. Not sure what it is for you. I'm not even sure I know what it is for me. But now that I think about it, certainly a couple of things come to mind. And a couple of things start to make me think like, maybe I should change this or change that. So anyway, that's the thought for the day. Go check out this verse in 2 Timothy and take a minute and look at the traps that are being set around you in your life, in your heart, in your job, on social media, in your friends, everything that influences you. And see what's changing. Actually, see what needs to be changed. All right, so may the God who loves us and gives us peace and only wants the best for us continue to make you aware of who He is in your life. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day or a great night, depending on, again, when you're watching this. But be sure to tune in to our live streams on Mondays and Fridays over at Facebook and YouTube. And be sure to support these devotions by joining us. Head over to joindavesband.com and you can sign up for just $5. The first $2 of your devotion, the first $2 of your membership goes straight to sponsoring a child, and it helps us save a life. So head over to joindavesband.com. You can sign up there, and we'll see you guys on the next one.